Vai no pau, vem no pau, vai no pau, vem no pau, vai no pau, vem no pau, vai descendo na moral. Vai no pau, vem no pau, vai no pau, vem no pau, vai no pau, vem no pau, vai descendo na moral.
Naomi was supposed to be my future, but this love triangle was about to destroy everything.
Another love, show me another love. This can't be the only one out there waiting for me. Stop, control the fire, let it burn. You're not in love with me, only how I make you feel. You don't know how real love tastes. You never learned to give just how to take. You're not in love with me. No, you're not in love with me. Maybe you believed it too, but love don't hurt the way you do. I know you tried, baby, I know you tried. And daily I nearly died, hoping you'll change for me. Lay down your armor, lay down your pride. You're not in love with me, only how I make you feel. You don't know how real love tastes. You never learned to give just how to take. With me.
This is a true story time about betrayal, manipulation, and a love triangle that destroyed an entire family in Manhattan, New York City. Today I'm sharing the most shocking relationship drama story involving workplace affairs, narcissistic behavior, and family secrets that will leave you speechless. This is the story of 5 people whose lives collided in the most devastating way, creating a toxic web of cheating, emotional manipulation, and betrayal that would destroy everything they thought they knew about each other.
Naomi, I think I'm in love with you. I just can't explain it. I think you're the one for me.
Oh, Brian, I think you're wonderful, but let's take things slow, yeah?
Tell them about his Naomi. Tell them now.
I never meant for any of this manipulation to happen. When I look back now, I can see exactly where this toxic relationship went wrong. But at the time, I thought I was just trying to survive. It started with Miss Jacobs. I met her at a networking event for young professionals in Manhattan. She was elegant, powerful, and she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. When she offered me a position at Jacobs Property Investments, a major commercial real estate company in New York City, I thought it was the break I'd been waiting for. Fresh out of college, drowning in student loans, working 3 part-time jobs just to make rent in the city. Her offer felt like salvation, but Miss Jacobs wanted more than an employee. She wanted a confidant, a partner in something much darker than property management deals.
Oh, for God's sakes, Helen, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to our family?
Richard, you thought you built this on your own back is off of my inheritance.
She told me about her marriage to Mr. Jacobs, how he'd built this investment portfolio from nothing but now treated her like a decoration. How he made all the decisions while she smiled and played the perfect wife. She was tired of being invisible in her own life. The plan seemed simple at first. This was the beginning of the workplace manipulation. I would work closely with Mr. Jacobs, document any inappropriate behavior, maybe catch him in a workplace affair. Miss Jacobs painted him as this terrible man who deserved whatever was coming to him. She made it sound like justice. And honestly, I needed the job so desperately that I convinced myself it was the right thing to do. Then I met Jason at a college alumni mixer in Manhattan. He was charming, funny, and so different from the corporate sharks I'd been surrounded by in the commercial real estate world. We started dating, and for months, everything felt normal. He never mentioned his last name much, just went by Jason. And I was so caught up in the romance that I never really pressed for details about his family. He said his parents were in business, that he was adopted, but we were young and focused on each other, not family histories. Working for Mr. Jacobs was nothing like what Miss Jacobs had prepared me for. He wasn't the monster she'd described. He was actually kind, respectful, almost shy around me. He never crossed a line, never made me uncomfortable. As weeks turned into months, I started to wonder if Miss Jacobs had imagined the problems in her marriage, or if this was all part of her narcissistic behavior. That's when she escalated the emotional manipulation. She started asking me to be more forward with him, to put myself in situations where something could happen. She said I was being naive, that I didn't understand how men like her husband operated. The pressure from her was constant, and I found myself torn between the job I desperately needed and the growing certainty that what she was asking me to do was wrong. But here's where the betrayal gets even worse. Then I met Brian. It was a random Tuesday evening in Manhattan. I was walking home from work, completely lost in my own thoughts about the mess my life was becoming, when I literally bumped into this guy on the corner of 42nd and Broadway. And when our eyes met, something just clicked. We started talking, and before I knew it, we'd walked 15 blocks together through New York City. He was so easy to talk to, so genuine and funny. When he asked for my number, I didn't hesitate. We talked for hours that night, about everything and nothing. Our dreams, our fears, our terrible college professors, our favorite movies. He told me about his family's property investment business, about his older adopted brother, who he was really close to, about his parents, who he both loved and worried about. I found myself opening up to him in ways I never had with anyone, even Jason. The cruel irony hit me weeks later when Brian mentioned his brother's name in passing. Jason Jacobs. My Jason was Brian's brother. The family business Brian had been talking about was Jacobs' property investments. Mr. Jacobs wasn't just my boss. He was the father of the man I was falling in love with. This love triangle was about to get devastating. I tried to tell Miss Jacobs I couldn't continue with the manipulation plan, but she wouldn't hear it. She reminded me of how much I owed her, how easily she could destroy my reputation in the commercial real estate industry. And then she revealed something that shattered my world completely. She told me she was in love with me, that everything she'd done, every act of manipulation, was because she wanted me for herself. This narcissistic behavior was spiraling out of control. The next few months were a nightmare of trying to navigate between 4 different relationships that were all built on lies and emotional manipulation. I was dating Brian while technically still involved with Jason, who had no idea his girlfriend was plotting against his father with his mother, who was obsessively in love with me. Meanwhile, I was supposed to be seducing Mr. Jacobs, who treated me like a daughter and trusted me completely. I felt like I was drowning in deception, but I couldn't see a way out that didn't destroy everyone I cared about.
I believe in love at first sight because it happened to me on a crowded street corner in New York City. Her name was Naomi, and she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Not just physically, though she definitely was stunning, but there was something about the way she carried herself, the intelligence in her eyes, the way she seemed completely unimpressed by the Manhattan hustle around us. We walked for what felt like hours, but was probably only 20 minutes. She was heading home from work in the commercial real estate industry, and I found myself taking the longest possible route to wherever she was going just to keep talking to her. When we finally reached her building, I did something I'd never done before. I asked a complete stranger for her number, and somehow I wasn't nervous about it at all. That night we talked until 3 a.m. I learned that she worked for a property investment firm, that she'd grown up in a small town but always dreamed of making it in New York City, that she had strong opinions about everything from pizza toppings to foreign policy. She was funny and smart and completely different from anyone I'd ever dated. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other as often as possible. There was something effortless about being with Naomi. With other women, I always felt like I was performing, trying to be the version of myself that would impress them most. With her, I could just be myself, talk about my fears, about taking over the family property management business someday, my complicated relationship with my parents, my worry that I'd never be as successful as my adopted brother Jason. Jason had always been the golden child in our family, older, more serious, more focused on business. He was the one Dad groomed to eventually take over the commercial real estate company, while I was seen as the creative one who might go into marketing or development, but would never run things. Growing up adopted in our family meant Jason felt he had to prove himself constantly, and he channeled that drive into becoming exactly the son our parents wanted. I loved Jason, but our relationship was complicated by the fact that we were so different and that our parents had such different expectations for us, which is why I didn't immediately mention Naomi to the family. I wanted to be sure about her before I brought her into the complex dynamics of the Jacobs household. The more time I spent with Naomi, the more certain I became that I was falling in love with her. She was everything I'd never known I was looking for. Ambitious but not ruthless, confident but not arrogant, beautiful but completely unaware of her own power. When she talked about her work in property investment, her eyes lit up in a way that made me want to hear everything she had to say. There were moments when I sensed she was holding something back, times when she seemed distant or worried about something she wouldn't share with me. But I figured everyone has their secrets, especially when you're just getting to know each other. I was patient because I believed what we had was worth waiting for. Then came the night that changed everything. Jason called me, excited about bringing his girlfriend home to meet the family. He'd been dating someone seriously for months, he said, and he was ready to make it official. He wanted to have a family dinner in Manhattan, introduce her to Mom and Dad, maybe even propose soon. I was happy for him, really I was, but when he said her name, Naomi, something cold settled in my stomach. There had to be lots of Naomis in New York City, I told myself. It couldn't possibly be my Naomi until I saw her walk through our front door that Sunday evening. Holding Jason's hand, the love triangle was about to explode.